Just be. Every day, allow yourself to be a new person, because a lot of times we'll do things that we're not proud of. A lot of times we'll do things that we don't identify with, and that is completely fine. As long as you keep trying, as long as you keep understanding what is you and what isn't you, and that I feel like people take this process of trying to be like, I want to be this, right? So I need to do these things. That's fine when you're trying to build a habit. That's fine when you're trying to start eating healthy or start be a gym person. I don't know. That's the way to go. But when you talk about yourself as a complete human being, using that method is not efficient. What you need to do is try things, see how they make you feel. See how they make you feel and see whether this is what feels natural to you. Because you cannot know whether you're a dancer or not if you've never tried it. You cannot know if you want to sing or not if you haven't tried it. You need to try things, see how they make you feel, and based on that, identify with them or not. A lot of people will identify with things just because they're cool or they're trendy or they're a part of like an identity that they want to belong to, like a group of people that are all doing it and they seem cool, and so you want to belong, and that's why you start doing something. That's not how it works. It's not, and it will make you miserable, and it will just lead to such a mediocre, unhappy, unsuccessful, and unfulfilling life. And I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, because there's nothing, the quote, and I hate wasted potential, because that shit crushes your spirit. It really does. It crushes your spirit, and that's just heartbreaking. That's just heartbreaking, because there are things out there in the world for you that you haven't yet found. But once you do, that's when you will prosper and bloom and just live the happiest life that you could live. And why would you miss out on that just because something seems cool, just because something is more trendy than whatever that thing is? And you cannot find those things until you go out and have an experience. People think that just watching reels online and finding out all of this useless information, sometimes it's very useful, but most of the time it's very useless information online about this and that, and they just can judge based on these randomized facts they're taking out of context and out of years of experience of people, right? And they just form their opinions on that. They form their opinions on styles, they form their opinions on nations, and it's log lines. It's small synopsises that don't even represent half of the things that they're like forming opinions about mean. The endless boxes, the chains that tie you down towards being a single concept rather than the human being that you are. There's so many things that people made, so many social constructs that are created for the pure purpose of trying to define people and trying to categorize them into all of these different things. Countries, nationalities, cultures, religions, favorite colors, favorite anything, favorite music, genres. All of these things are ways for people to self-identify, which isn't necessarily a negative thing. I think a lot of those make sense because of the fact that being brought up in a certain way, liking certain things, does say to a certain volume about you as a person and about your character. But all of those things are not eternal. All of those things are not an obligation to commit, and I find it completely normal for people to change their opinions, but that becomes a complicated matter when you base your personality off of things that can change. Culture is not imprinted into your DNA. If you start living in a different country, if you start consuming different type of content, different type of media, talking to different types of people, you will dilute what you have in you with all of those things. The same thing goes for your taste in music, your taste in cinema, your taste in food. All of the things that you use in your mind to make sense of yourself as a human being are temporary. They're not a realistic way to exist. Sometimes even morals are something that is subject to change, which they're more foundational, so I think that's not as common. But I think even defining yourself as your morals is quite a faulty thing to do. When I was a kid, I had a fascination with people asking the deep question of who are you? Because I wouldn't really understand why does it matter, in the sense of it doesn't matter what my name is, it doesn't matter what gender I am, it doesn't matter what I do, whether I'm a student, a daughter, or a filmmaker. All of those things are just temporary projections of the things that I want to be doing. Can I ever really know who am I? Can I ever really give an answer that would be valid for proximity of my whole life? Would there be ever a specific answer that could define me so precisely that I could just give it at all times? I don't think so. And I think that's the beauty of being a human being. You don't have to belong in a sense of identifying yourself with certain cultural movements, with certain trends. You can just be without being characterized. And I particularly like the phrase everything everywhere all at once, because it encapsulates the idea of being a part of everything and everything being a part of you. We are all, and this is getting way too philosophical, but I do not care. Everything is made of everything. Everything is made of the same basic materials, and it's just shaped in a different way and form. And so why wouldn't you just go ahead and feel kind of connection and empathy and love towards every single thing that exists? Your need to define yourself can oftentimes come from the point of not feeling like you belong. And that is a big issue in modern society, where isolation and individualism are at their peak. Before pandemic, that was already a big thing, and I feel like COVID really brought up this issue to the surface even more, because not only were we separated mentally but physically as well. A person can go years on years without physical intimacy if they have that moral and intellectual and emotional connection to other people. But as soon as a person is deprived of that mental kind of stimulation and mental closeness with other people, that's when they crave physical connections the most. I think nothing demoralizes people more than feeling alienated, and what's scary is that a lot of people at the moment are going through that, and it's a very hard thing to go through, because the solution to it is to find your people and to be surrounded by people who get you. But the more alienated you feel, the less likely you are to go out there and try again and again to find people. There's a lot of pressure to define yourself, mainly because it's profitable. When you are defined, you are a clear target audience, because it's easier for people who want to sell you things and who want to get your money to know exactly what you're interested in. It's easier because it's not as intimidating to people, because people do not like the unknown, and unknown scares them. Stereotypes are an easy way out of getting to know someone on a deeper level, because when they display all of these signs and all of these ways in which you can characterize them and just put them on a shelf and be like, okay, this person likes this, do they have this kind of character? And so they don't really have to get to know you, because they already have these assumptions and these expectations. And why should they bother going any further? It creates a lot of division, but at the same time, it makes up these little groups and cliques that connect on the most basic level and never really go beyond that. And that is comfortable to people because that allows lack of vulnerability to exist. And not being vulnerable is actually really nice. It's really nice because it's low risk, low reward, but for a lot of people that is a lot better than going into high risk, high reward environment where you do have to open up. And that's fair. I don't judge people based on that. I think an easy way out isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can lead to living a mediocre life, and while that might be satisfactory to some people, that's not really my plan. But it's hard to exist without any definitions and any labels at all. So you do have to carefully pick and choose the kinds of things that you want to project into the world, because not playing this game is as dangerous as playing it might be. So being mindful and conscious of it is an important way to kind of make it as efficient for yourself as it can be, unless you can afford to move out of the city and just live as a hermit in some village. That'd be quite nice. We are meant to be changing and we're meant to be growing. The whole purpose of our existence is death, and we're slowly but surely going towards it. But in the process, on our journey, which matters the most, it's what we do that will define us. It doesn't matter how you change. It matters that you do change. All that is, it's movement. Because not changing is to be stagnant. And it doesn't matter in what dimension and in what direction you're moving. Because while for some people it can be a straight line, for others it's going to be a 4D projection in all kinds of directions. And that's completely fine as long as you keep moving. There's nothing scarier than stagnation, I think, because it's equivalent to death. If you're alive but all you do is just scroll social medias every day, eat processed food, and just, live a very low quality life, are you really living? Are you changing? Is there anything new going on in your brain? Like, does your body feel fulfilled? Do you feel fulfilled? If yes, good for you. But as somebody who's lived that lifestyle for few months of my life, I don't think that's what I want to do. And yeah, when you stop trying to define yourself, that's when you open yourself to possibilities. Because definition makes your life easier, but easy can both be a positive and negative thing. Blurry lines create space for blending. And because of that, it will create space for creativity. Because you will see things that you wouldn't usually see when it's all clear. Sometimes you just gotta imagine things. Imagination isn't clear. You don't really know what happens in dreams, and dreams are the fuel of a lot of creative processes. I kind of took that out of my ass, but I don't care. You need to live, you need to experience, you need to reflect, and that's the only way you can go about it. Thank you.